Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Chris here, founder of Rooted Music. Guys, I'm thrilled that you're taking this next step with us and just getting a glimpse of what one of our courses is like. We have helped thousands of people just like yourself learn to play the worship music that they love, and we want to help you do the same thing. We're here for feedback, for encouragement, for insight, for tips and tricks. We want to help you every single step of the way. You're going to see that in this video, so check it out.
Hey everyone, this is JT with Rooted Music, here with you today for a beginner piano tutorial of the song What a Beautiful Name by Hillsong Worship. And today we're going to be looking at the single version of What a Beautiful Name, not the version from the album Let There Be Light. That is definitely the more commonly known, the more popular version of this song. But today we're going to be looking at the single that they released of this song, which is a shorter, more condensed version of this song. However, what you're going to learn today in this video applies the same to the Let There Be Light version. So a lot of this will transfer to either version of the song, but today we're going to be covering the single of this song instead. Awesome. And so before we dive headfirst straight into this song, we have a few pieces of really important information that you and I need to know in order to play this song well. And by taking the time to learn these before we start looking at the specifics of the song is going to make learning this song faster and a lot easier. So let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the key right here. And so this song is in the key of D major, and D major is one of the first few keys that you would learn as a beginner piano student. And the key of D has two sharps. We have an F sharp and we have a C sharp. And so here are the notes of our scale right here in parentheses. So what I'm going to do is play through the scale and then we'll explain it. So we're going to start with D, then E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and then D. And what's really cool about this scale right here is that every chord that we're going to play in this song is made up of only these notes. So when we're playing What a Beautiful Name, these are the only notes that we're allowed to play. So here's that scale one more time. Awesome. Now, if you look in the lower right-hand corner of this page, you can see that we have a PDF attached for the chord chart in letter notation where you're reading the letters like D, E, F sharp, G. But then you also will see that we have a Nashville number chart available as well. And what the Nashville number chart does is instead of having letters, it has numbers instead. So we replace the letters of our scale with numbers, and Nashville numbers is very helpful if you find yourself in a setting where you're having to transpose between keys. And what it does, instead of focusing on the specific names of pitches, Nashville numbers instead focuses on the relationships between those notes, and which makes transposing a lot easier. So let's go ahead and build our scale in Nashville numbers. So D is going to be 1, E is 2, F sharp is 3, G is 4, A is 5, B is 6, C sharp is 7, and then D is back to 1. Awesome. So let's go through that scale one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Great. So that was the scale in Nashville numbers. And we really leave it up to you to determine if you'd rather read the chart in Nashville numbers or if you'd rather read it in letter notation. Either is fine. And so we at Rooted encourage you to be a well-rounded musician. So we think it's vital to learn both, to be able to read in Nashville numbers and be able to read in letter notation, because you may find yourself playing in a worship setting somewhere where you're reading a number chart, and then you may also at times find yourself in positions where you're going to read off of the letter charts. And so it's really important to learn how to read both. Today in this video, I will be reading off the Nashville number chart, but I will be referencing the letter names as well throughout this video. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and look through the song and let's see how many chords do we need to know. And so let's see how many chords do we need to know in order to play this song. And so I'm just going to scroll through this really quick. So we have a 1 chord, which is D, 4, which is G, 6, which is B minor, 5, which is A, 5 over 7, which is A over C sharp. And we're looking for just unique chords here. There's a 1 over 3, which is going to be D over F sharp. And then I think that's it, except for the bridge. Down here, we have a 3, which is F sharp minor. So for this song, for What a Beautiful Name, we have 7 chords that we need to know. in order to play this song well. So let's go ahead and build those chords now so we can get some practice playing those before we have to try to play them with specific rhythms in mind later on in the song. All right, so now let's go ahead and build these chords in ascending scale order. And when we're playing chords in this beginner tutorial today, we're going to be playing triads, which means these are chords that contain 3 notes, and every triad is going to be composed of a root, third, fifth. And so the root is the namesake of the chord. So if I was playing a D major or a 1 chord, D is my root, F sharp is the third, and then A is the fifth. And we're playing these chords in root position, meaning the namesake of the chord or the root of the chord is the lowest note we're going to play in our right hand. And the reason we're playing all of these chords in root position today is that they're just a little easier to find on the keyboard, especially as we're just learning maybe this song in the key of D, or we've never played a song in the key of D or things like that. Being able to find the chords in root position makes it just a little easier to play. All right, so now let's go ahead and we're going to build all of these chords in ascending scale order. So we're going to start with D or a 1 chord. So D is the root, F sharp is the third, A is the fifth. And then for the rest of this video, and when I play through this song with the recording at the end of this video, I usually add an octave of the root note in my left hand. So if this is a little too advanced for you, you can just play a single note in your left hand of the root like that. Or if that's still too much, you can just play the right hand by itself for now. And then when you get more comfortable with it, you can add the left hand, either a single note or an octave. Good, so that was our D or our 1 chord. Next we have our D over F sharp or 1/3 chord. And if you look here, our 1/3 chord is called a slash chord. We're going to look at the 5/7, but the principle still holds true for our 1/3 as well, or D over F sharp. And so what we're doing with the slash chord or a number over number chord, we are playing something different with each one of our hands. So the first number here tells me what I'm playing with my right hand. The second number tells me what I'm playing with my left hand. So if I have a 1/3 or D over F sharp, I'm going to still build my D chord in my right hand. So I have D is the root, F sharp is the third, A is the fifth, just like this. But now that I have a 3 in my left hand, instead of playing an octave of D or my 1 here, I'm moving this to F sharp. And there we go. So I have a D major chord over an F sharp or a 1/3. So remember, first number or first letter tells you what you're playing in your right hand. What comes after the slash tells you what you're playing in your left hand. So 1/3 right there. Awesome. Next we have a 3 chord, which is an F sharp minor. And so for the rest of these chords, I'm actually going to be moving, instead of working up this way on the keyboard, we're going to leave D major where it's at, but the rest of the chords, we're going to move an octave down, because I just prefer to play kind of in this middle C region and a little lower on the piano, because it, especially if you're playing by yourself, it provides a lot of that low end that just really rounds out the sound and fills it out. So let's go ahead and build our F sharp minor here. So F sharp is the root, A is the third, C sharp is the fifth. There's our F sharp minor or our 3 chord. Next we have G or our 4 chord. So G is the root, B is the third, D is the fifth. There's G major or our 4 chord. Then we have A major or our 5 chord. So A is the root, C sharp is the third, E is the fifth. And there's our A chord or our 5 chord. Now we have a 5/7 or A over C sharp, and we treat these just the same as we did our 1/3 chords. So we have our 5 or A in the right hand, A, C sharp, E, but instead of playing A in our left hand, we're going to play C sharp, which is our 7. So we have 5/7 or A over C sharp. Good. And the last chord we're going to learn is our B minor or our 6 chord. So B is the root, D is the third, F sharp is the fifth. And there's B minor. And that's it. Those are the 7 chords that you and I need to know in order to play this song. So let's just go through them one more time. So we have D is our 1 chord, D over F sharp, which is our 1/3. Then we have F sharp minor, which is our 3 chord. Then we have G, which is our 4 chord. Then we have A, which is our 5 chord, A over C sharp, which is 5/7, and then B minor, which is our 6 chord. And there we go. Those are the chords that we need to know to play this song. And there we go. So we just went through the notes of the scale of the key of D and all the chords that we need to know to play this song in the key of D really quickly. And I wish we could cover it more in depth, but for the sake of time, we're only covering the bare minimum that we really need to know for this video. However, at Rooted, we have in our piano library informational videos on every key that you could watch. So we have an informational video on the key of D major that you could watch and really learn more about the notes of the key of D, why these are the notes, why D major has two sharps, how do we know how to build those chords, which chords are major, which ones are minor. And so we have that video. It's about 30 minutes long. We definitely encourage that you check that out, because if you watch that video, you're going to gain a greater understanding of the key of D major. And what's really cool about that video is that you're going to learn a lot of principles of harmony that not only apply to D major, but apply to every key, which is really cool. And in our piano library, we have an informational video on all 12 keys. So definitely go check that out. We really encourage you to watch it because you're going to gain a greater understanding of functional harmony, and it will help you a ton as you're learning songs like What a Beautiful Name. Awesome. So now that we know the key, we know our scale, we know the chords we're playing in the song, let's look at our time signature right here. So let's go ahead and look at our time signature. And the time signature for What a Beautiful Name is 4/4. So anytime we're looking at a time signature, the first number tells me how many beats are in a measure. So in What a Beautiful Name, we have 4 beats per measure, and the second number tells us what type of note is considered one beat. And so a 4 here means that a quarter note is considered one beat. So every measure is going to have equal to 4 quarter notes worth of time in it. Now, exactly, if you've never played a song before or have never heard the term measure or counting, because we are going to count through this song in sections as well, let's talk about what a measure is. So a measure is simply a way that we break the song down into smaller pieces that really just helps us keep track of where we are. So a comparison would be like how a really long book is broken up into chapters. We can think that that's how the song gets broken down into measures. So every measure, we're going to count to 4 by going 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was a measure. And then the next measure immediately starts after we get to 4. So they just smoothly and seamlessly go from one measure into the next. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there, I just counted through 2 whole measures of 4 beats because we have 4 beats per measure. And remember, a quarter note is worth 1 beat. Awesome. Now, when I just snapped my fingers and counted my way through that, how do I know how fast or how slow to snap my fingers? And this is where the tempo comes in, and the tempo is 68 beats per minute. And so I could set a metronome to 68, and that would tell me how fast I'm supposed to be counting or snapping my fingers as we go through the song. So 68 is a little bit on the slower end. This song certainly doesn't feel slow with the way that the instrumentation's set up and how the drums play and things like that. But certainly we don't want to play this song too fast. And it's our natural tendency to want to play this song faster than it really is. So we have to make sure that we're playing right on beat. And so if you want to play the song exactly on beat with the recording, 68 beats per minute is for you. Awesome. So the song order for this song, we go to verse 1, verse 2, chorus 2, bridge, chorus 3, and then we are at the end. And remember, we are playing on the single version of this song, which is a more condensed version compared to the Let There Be Light album version. Awesome. So now that we know our key, we know the chords, we know the time signature, we know the tempo, we're ready to play the song. And one thing I'd encourage you to do is, if playing those chords is a little tough, I'd encourage you to rewind the video, go back, watch that as many times as it takes, practice playing those chords and moving from those chords to the other chords, because if you can do that really well, it's going to make learning what we're doing here in the actual specifics of the song a lot easier. But let's go ahead now and look at verse 1. Awesome. So let's go ahead and look in here. And if you've never read a chord chart before, let's go ahead and explain kind of what this looks like here. So as you can see, we have the lyrics here of the song, and we have a bunch of numbers here. And these numbers here are the chord changes in the song. So we're not necessarily saying every beat is represented here with our chord changes, but what we're doing is we're playing and changing these chords in relation to where the lyrics line up. So for example, I'm going to play my 1 chord just a little bit before the word you, Then I'll hold this all the way until we get to God, where I'll play my 4-chord or G, and then so on and so forth there. So the way that we read chord charts is that we are looking for the relationship between the chord changes and the lyrics. And so the way that we're going to break this video down is that I am going to play through the song here, and then we'll talk about it, but I'm going to show you where the chord changes line up with the lyrics. But I'm also going to play through it, but instead of saying the lyrics, I'm going to count it, because there are spots in the song where we don't have lyrics that we're still playing, and sometimes even in situations like this, the chord changes and the lyrics don't quite tell the whole story rhythmically. So counting our way through it is the other side of that coin that really gives us that complete picture on how to play this exactly the way it needs to be played. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play these first 2 lines of verse 1, say the lyrics, and then we'll break it down. So here it is: 1, 2, 3, 4. You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. And there we go. Awesome. So we have 4 total measures right here. The entire verse is 8 total measures. And so these first 2 lines right here are 4 total measures. So I start with our D chord or a 1 chord on the very first beat of verse 1. And this gets 2 measures here. And because there's not a whole lot of instrumentation playing in the beginning, I did go ahead and replayed this 1 chord here on the word beginning. Even though it's not listed here because it's not a chord change, I did play it again here just to, again, provide a little more backbone and support underneath a very bare beginning to the song there. So we have 2 measures of our 1 chord there. Then in our 3rd measure, we play our G chord or 4 chord on the word God for 2 beats. Then we play our 6 chord or B minor on the word Lord for 2 beats. And then we finish with our 5 chord or A on the word high, and we hold that for the 4th measure of these 2 lines here. So I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of saying the lyrics, I'm going to count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. We just counted our way through the first 2 lines. Now let's come down here to the next 2 lines. I'm going to say the lyrics, and then we'll break it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you are Christ. And there we go. So we have 4 measures here, and we start with our 6 chord or B minor on beat 1 of that first measure and hold that through for 3 beats, and then we play our 5/7 or A over C sharp on beat 4 of that measure on the word in. So this is a transitional chord because we're only playing it for 1 beat, and it's really this C sharp here leading us up into this D here. It's a nice little chromatic element that just really helps us transition smoothly from this 6 chord to our 1 chord here. So this is our 2nd measure of these 2 lines here. We play our D chord or a 1 chord on the word creation. Hold that for a full measure or 4 beats. Then we come down here, we play our 4 chord or G on the word revealed for 2 beats. Then we have our 6 chord or B minor on the word you for 2 beats. And we finish with our 5 chord or A on the word Christ for a full measure as well. So now I'm going to play through these last 2 lines here. So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. We just played all 8 measures of verse 1. Nice. Let's move down to the chorus. So here in the chorus, we're going to do these first 2 lines right here. I'm going to play it with the lyrics, and then we'll break it down. 1, 2. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. Awesome. So here, what a beautiful name this is all right here, what we call pickup notes. And so what's really happening here is these words are being sung over the last 2 beats of our verse here. So these kind of overlap. And so beat 1 of the first measure of our chorus is here on this 1/4 is. And so that's why when I was counting in, I said all these words before I played, because these are what we call pickup notes. So these words are really happening in the last few beats up here, and they kind of overlap there. And then beat 1 right there. So when we play beat 1 right here of our first full measure, we play our 1/4 D on the word is for a full measure. Then we play our 5/4 A on the next is for a full measure. Then we come down here, we play our 6th chord or B minor on the word Jesus for 2 beats. Then we play our 5/4 A on the word Christ for 2 beats, and then we play our 4 chord or G on the word King for 4 beats. So we have 4 total measures on these first 2 lines, and then we have a few extra beats with these pickup notes here. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is do the same spot, but count through it. So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. We're through the first 2 lines of the chorus. Now let's come down here to the last 2 lines of the chorus, and similarly to how we had these all as kind of pickup notes here, we have these as pickup notes as well. So what a beautiful name it. Actually, these words are being sung over the last couple beats of our G chord or 4 chord there that we start playing on the word King. So I'm going to play these 2 lines, and then we'll break it down. So 1, 2, what a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus.
You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you, our Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video here today. I hope it gave you some really good insight into what one of our courses with us looks like. We've helped thousands of people just like you learn to play their favorite worship music and learn to do it well with constant encouragement, feedback, and just a commitment to each student to help them learn to play worship music. And we want to do the same thing with you. So click the link below to get started with us today.